Right now, there's a real storm brewing over at Rangers, and it's picking up speed faster than anyone expected. The tension around Russell Martin is getting unbearable, and fans aren't just frustrated anymore. They're absolutely furious. That Champions League hammering at the hands of Club Brugge was the last straw for many. 6-0 on the night, 9-1 on aggregate. It's not just a bad night at the office. It's an embarrassment, the kind of result that sticks to a manager like a stain. And the fallout? Immediate and brutal. The atmosphere at Ibrox isn't just heavy, it's turning toxic. It wasn't just the scoreline that stung, it was the way the team folded. 8 minutes into the game and Max Arne sees red, leaving Rangers a man down against a side that was already brimming with confidence. From that point on, it was a disaster in slow motion. Trialdi opened the scoring for Brugge after just 5 minutes. Van Aken doubled their lead by the half-hour mark, and then it completely collapsed. 3 more goals followed in the final 4 minutes of the first half. That's not just poor, that's unacceptable. Once he's got his first, then his second, and Stanovic made it 5 before the ref could even blow for halftime. It was carnage. The second half was damage control, or at least it should have been. Zulli added a 6th, and by the end of the match, Rangers looked like a side that had been emotionally and physically drained. You could see it in the body language. No fight left, just stunned silence and defeated expressions. But one moment really stood out. 18-year-old Finlay Curtis, one of the few bright sparks in a dark season, dropped to his knees and pounded the turf in frustration. That image, of a teenager wearing the shirt with more pride and passion than some of the senior pros around him, said everything about where this team is at. Curtis has scored 3 goals in 7 appearances, and yet he's the one showing the heart, the fire, the raw emotion that fans are desperate to see. And to be clear, this isn't just a knee-jerk reaction to a European battering. It's been brewing for weeks. Domestically, Rangers are off to one of the worst starts in the club's history. Not one win in the first 3 Scottish Premiership fixtures under Martin. For a club of Rangers' stature, that's unheard of. It's no wonder the fans are at breaking point. Outside Ibrox, the messages are loud and unfiltered. Banners demanding Martin's departure have already appeared. One reads, "Get him out now before the seats are empty." That's not just a call for change, it's a warning. The loyalty of the Rangers' support is being tested in ways it hasn't been in years. Russell Martin came in with ideas, with ambition, and with words about building something. But words only go so far in Glasgow. Results talk louder than any press conference, and right now the numbers are damning. But what's made this spiral even worse is the sense that Martin's decisions are actively hurting the team. Fans are baffled, furious, even at the omission of club captain James Tavernier and Belgian midfielder Nicolas Raskin in critical moments. Tavernier, a leader for years, has been the heartbeat of this team through thick and thin. Raskin, with his international pedigree, is exactly the kind of player you expect to see in the biggest games. And yet, both have been benched, sidelined, or underused in a period where the team is screaming for leadership and control. There's no hiding from it now. The fans feel betrayed. They're not just disappointed. They're angry, they're hurt, and above all, they're demanding answers. And the board? Well, they're on the clock. This isn't just about Martin anymore. It's about the direction of the entire club. Do they dig in, back the manager, and hope this is just a rough patch? Or do they act now before the season slips beyond salvation? Because make no mistake, the Celtic machine is already rolling, and falling behind this early could mean handing over the title before we even hit Christmas. What makes this even more complex is the situation around the players, particularly Hamza Igame. Rangers have accepted a £10.5 million offer from Lille for the striker, and it's clear that bridge has already been burned. Just days ago, Martin all but confirmed that Igame's time at Ibrox was over. There was even an incident during the draw with Street Mirren where the striker reportedly refused to come on, citing a quad injury, an excuse that didn't sit well with fans or staff. Curtis ended up being the one who salvaged a point that day, another sign of the young lad stepping up when others fade into the background. Martin confirmed that Igame would be leaving, admitting that his head had been turned by the interest from League One. It's a saga that's dragged on all summer, and while the fee might help with incoming transfers, it adds another layer of instability to a squad already hanging by a thread. The talk now is of potential replacements. Names like Bojan Majowski and Youssef Chermatai have been mentioned. Majowski in particular seems to be high on the club's list. But again, the focus isn't just on who comes in. It's about what kind of team Martin is trying to build, and whether he's got the time, the backing, or even the ability to turn this around. To add to the pressure, there's still a push to bring in a left back and a central defender before the window slams shut. The club is scrambling to fill holes while trying to stop the bleeding on the pitch. And through it all, Martin insists that things aren't falling apart, that it's just part of the process. But after that disaster in Belgium and the dire start in Scotland, that message is wearing thin. Rangers fans don't ask for much, just that their team fights with pride, plays with intent, and never rolls over. Right now, they're not getting any of that. They're watching a team that looks lost, a manager who seems unsure, and a board that's caught between patience and panic. And with Celtic already setting the pace, there's a real fear that this season could unravel before it even begins. As if the Champions League collapse and domestic struggles weren't already enough to set alarm bells ringing, the deeper issue right now is a crisis of identity inside Rangers Football Club. For all the years of tradition, pride, and relentless ambition that define this institution, what fans are seeing on the pitch just doesn't match the badge anymore. This isn't just a blip in form. It's not even just poor coaching. What's unfolding feels more like a club losing its way. The standards have dropped, the belief has evaporated, and the leadership, from the dugout to the boardroom, looks completely adrift. Russell Martin may have come into Ibrox with the right words and the right attitude, but he's now completely out of credit. There's no longer any buffer between him and the outrage spilling out from the stands. The early excuses about needing time or waiting for players to adapt to his system have run dry. The patience fans had in the summer has long since turned to disbelief. And after that 6-0 demolition in Belgium, it's now bordering on open rebellion. This is Glasgow. Managers don't survive this kind of run unless there's a crystal-clear plan and a fierce response on the pitch. Martin has shown neither. Inside the dressing room, you have to wonder what the atmosphere is like now. When a player like Igamain refuses to come on, that's not just a personal issue. It reflects something much deeper. A fractured connection, a lack of trust, possibly even a breakdown in discipline. And when the most energetic response on the night comes from a teenager like Curtis, who showed more emotion in 10 seconds than some of the senior players have all season, it raises big questions about the spine of this squad. Who's leading in that dressing room? Who's demanding more? The truth is, this team doesn't seem to know what it's trying to be. Tactically, Rangers under Martin have looked disjointed. There's no clear identity in the play, no consistent structure, and certainly no visible chemistry. One week it's a back three, the next it's a flat four. The midfield is constantly chopped and changed, and the forward line looks isolated more often than not. Key players are rotated in and out with no real explanation. Some matches see a passive approach, others an overly aggressive one that leaves them exposed. It's like watching a manager roll the dice and hope something sticks. The use of Nicholas Raskin continues to be a sticking point for fans. A player with his profile, technical, composed, intelligent, should be dictating games, not watching them from the sidelines. And then there's James Tavernier. Yes, he's had his critics, but he's still one of the most experienced and influential figures in the dressing room. Dropping him from key moments has only deepened the belief that Martin doesn't fully understand the character of this squad. If you're going into battle, you take your generals with you. That's what supporters are used to seeing. But right now, the team looks leaderless, not just in who's wearing the armband, but in mentality and structure. Off the pitch, the board's silence is beginning to scream. Supporters are demanding clarity, some kind of reassurance that the current direction isn't being accepted behind closed doors. And yet, the only signals coming from upstairs are passive. No statements, no votes of confidence, no indication that decisive action is even being considered. That vacuum of communication is fueling speculation and making things worse. Fans are left wondering, does the board see what we see? Do they feel the same urgency? Or are they detached from the heartbeat of the club they're supposed to protect? It's hard to overstate just how much this matters to the Rangers' support. This isn't just about football. It's about identity, history, and pride. For a club that's clawed its way back from financial collapse, fought its way up through the divisions, and rebuilt its European standing brick by brick, to now look so lost and directionless is beyond painful. And to see Celtic out the block strong only makes it worse. Every dropped point, every tactical blunder, every passive performance puts more ground between the two sides. That rivalry isn't just local, it's spiritual. Every misstep Rangers make, Celtic are ready to capitalize. And the longer this continues, the more damaging the consequences become. The transfer window has only amplified the pressure. Losing Igamain was no surprise, not really. Everyone knew his heart was set on the move. But the way it's been handled has raised eyebrows. From the moment he refused to come on, it should have been clear that his chapter was over. But instead of making a firm call, the club dragged it out, leaving the situation to fester. That indecision sends a message to the rest of the dressing room. Commitment is optional. And in a season where unity and discipline are non-negotiable, that's a dangerous precedent. Now, with just days left in the window, the recruitment team is scrambling. Majowski seems the clear favorite to come in, and while he's got the attributes to do well at Ibrox, throwing him into this current chaos is no easy task. There's also talk of Youssef Chermatai, a younger, less proven option, but neither of them can fix what's broken overnight. A new left-back and center-back are also on the shopping list, but it's not just about names and signings anymore. It's about whether there's a coherent plan behind these moves, or if it's just a panicked attempt to plug holes before the whole thing caves in. Martin insists it's all part of a longer process, that the team is still growing and adapting. But supporters are seeing something very different. They're seeing a team with no fire, a manager making erratic choices, and a club that looks like it's drifting without a map. And in Glasgow, where passion defines everything, that is simply unforgivable. The banners outside Ibrox, the shouts on social media, the silence that greeted the final whistle in Belgium, they all point to one truth. The fans have lost faith. And once that's gone, it's almost impossible to get it back. For Martin, the next game isn't just important. It could be career-defining. Another slip, another lifeless display, and the noise will become deafening. He's no longer being judged just on points. He's being judged on direction, on leadership, on whether or not he truly gets what it means to manage this club. Because Rangers isn't like other clubs. It demands not just excellence but presence, awareness, and an ability to carry the weight of expectation that never leaves, even on the best of days. Behind the scenes, you can be sure conversations are happening. Whether it's with potential replacements or within the board itself, the possibility of change is on the table. It has to be. No club aiming to win titles can accept this kind of trajectory. Not with Celtic pulling away. Not with fans growing more disillusioned by the week. And not with the players looking like they've lost all belief in what they're being asked to do. The real tragedy here is that the bones of a good team are still in that squad. There's talent. There's youth coming through with promise. There are leaders, if they're used properly. But right now, all of it is being squandered. And the man in charge, the one who was meant to take this group to the next level, looks increasingly like a passenger on a train he no longer knows how to drive. And so, the clock keeps ticking. The questions grow louder. The pressure tighter. Every training session, every press conference, every team sheet becomes a test. Not just for the manager, but for the board, for the players, and for the club's future as a whole. Because this isn't just about turning form around. This is about saving the season, and maybe even something bigger than that. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are circulating across the Scottish football landscape, and few rumors have stirred such a mix of excitement and disbelief as the one suggesting that Callum Wilson, the prolific Newcastle United and England striker, could be on the verge of a stunning move to Rangers. For supporters who have long dreamed of seeing a proven Premier League finisher don the famous royal blue shirt, the prospect of Wilson arriving at Ibrox feels almost too extraordinary to be true, and yet the murmurs refuse to die down. Wilson, known for his sharp instincts inside the box and his knack for turning half chances into goals, has reportedly grown intrigued by the idea of writing a new chapter in his career north of the border, away from the relentless glare of the English top flight. The move, if it materializes, would instantly be among the most audacious signings in recent Scottish football history, reminiscent of the moments when world-class names shocked the league by appearing in Glasgow. For Rangers, still chasing both domestic dominance and European credibility, the timing could be perfect, as Wilson's reputation alone would send waves through supporters and rivals alike, amplifying the sense that something monumental might be brewing at Ibrox. The rumors suggest that discussions may already have taken place behind closed doors, though, as always, the truth remains shrouded in speculation and coded hints. Some insiders whisper of tentative negotiations between Wilson's representatives and Rangers officials, with the player reportedly weighing the challenge of testing himself in a different environment against the comfort of staying in the Premier League. A move to Scotland, some say, would offer him not only the chance to become the star attraction in a historic league, but also the opportunity to cement his name alongside legendary Ibrox strikers who carved their place in folklore with decisive goals in Old Firm derbies and European nights. Skeptics argue that the financial demands of such a transfer might prove insurmountable, yet Rangers in recent years have shown an appetite for ambition, determined to bridge the gap with their fiercest rivals and restore consistent European competitiveness. With Wilson in their ranks, they would possess not merely a goal scorer, but also a symbol of intent, a statement that Scottish football can still attract high-profile names capable of changing games single-handedly. Whether the club can turn whispers into reality is the question now hanging over the terraces. The player himself has maintained a studied silence amid the mounting speculation, though keen observers note that Wilson has never shied away from bold career decisions. His rise from Coventry to Bournemouth, and then his ascension to Newcastle United, has been marked by resilience in the face of injuries and a determination to prove doubters wrong. To some close to the situation, the thought of Wilson seizing the challenge of Rangers is not out of character, for he has consistently sought stages where he can shine brightest. At Ibrox, with a fervent support behind him and a platform to perform in the biggest fixtures Scottish football has to offer, Wilson could find the perfect setting to unleash his predatory instincts once more. Supporters point out that Rangers' style, often built around rapid transitions and service from the flanks, would suit a striker of Wilson's profile perfectly, giving him the chance to thrive in front of goal. More than that, it could rejuvenate him at a time in his career when he may be contemplating what legacy he will leave behind. The allure of being remembered as the man who fired Rangers to glory could prove irresistible. Around Glasgow, in pubs, on social media, and even in casual office conversations, the Wilson chatter has become a hot topic, with fans speculating not just about the transfer fee, but also about the ripple effects across Scottish football. Celtic supporters, naturally, watch the rumor with wary eyes, recognizing that such a coup would tilt the balance of the Old Firm rivalry in a way few recent moves have managed. The Scottish Premiership has often been accused of lacking global star power, but the arrival of Wilson would inevitably attract headlines far beyond the country's borders, boosting television audiences, ticket sales, and general attention on the league. For Rangers faithful, the very idea has sparked debates about how the team might line up, who would provide the assists, and whether Wilson could reignite European nights under the lights at Ibrox. Meanwhile, critics question whether a player accustomed to the weekly intensity of the Premier League would adapt seamlessly to Scottish football, where the challenges are different, but the pressure just as suffocating. Still, as long as the rumor continues to swirl, imaginations will run wild with visions of Wilson celebrating in front of the Copeland Road stand. As with all great football rumors, the truth may ultimately prove less dramatic than the chatter, but the very possibility of Callum Wilson swapping the black and white stripes of Newcastle for the royal blue of Rangers speaks to the enduring magic of the game. Football thrives on speculation, on the intoxicating mix of hope and doubt that fuels conversations and keeps supporters glued to every update, every anonymous tip, and every whispered hint from supposed insiders. For Rangers, the rumor itself has already served a purpose, injecting excitement into the fanbase and reminding everyone of the club's stature and ambition. For Wilson, whether the move ever comes to pass or not, the talk alone underscores the esteem in which he is held as a proven marksman whose goals can change destinies. If the story does evolve into reality, Scottish football will brace itself for one of its most remarkable arrivals of the modern era. Until then, the city buzzes with expectation, and the rest of the league watches in anticipation, knowing that if Rangers do indeed pull this off, the landscape of Scottish football could shift in ways that will be felt for years to come. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.